Okay, well, we are going to get started. I'll continue to let people in as we begin. I am recording this, so I just want everybody to know that. But welcome to the soccer meeting. We're going to do a prayer. We're going to start with a word of prayer to get us going, and then we'll talk a little about the program and the best way to get started. And hopefully, you can feel comfortable with where we're headed after this. And as we go, please feel free to ask questions in the chat, or just unmute yourself and ask me a question. So if you don't mind, we're going to begin with a word of prayer. God, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of Grand Rapids Christian Schools. We thank you for all of the families who are in our school this year. We know that you brought them to us for a specific reason. We pray that Grand Rapids Christian Middle School athletics could be a positive experience for our kids and our families, and that we can make a positive impression on all of the schools that we come in contact with, all of the officials and all of the parents that we meet. Please be with all of us as we lead this year, as parents, as athletic directors, as coaches, that we lead with a special measure of grace and patience for those that we are in contact. We just thank you for the opportunity to represent you on the field of competition and in our hallways and at this school. May we do it in a way that shows partnership and a love for you first and foremost. In your name we pray. Amen. We should have had John Sherrill pray, but I did my best. Well, welcome. First, I always like to talk about connecting. So if you look in your chat at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little word bubble. Most of you have done Zoom by now. If you click that, you'll see the things that I've written in the chat. I'm going to quick put in Carolyn Grundyke. She is in charge of our Eagles Sport Report, which is a report that goes out about our high school programs every single day with interesting photos and things that happen in our sports throughout the day. I know we're in 5th through 8th grade, so it's not like your son or daughter will be, reported in there, but it is nice to know what's going on. The other thing that we have is Facebook and Instagram accounts that we want to share the good news. As Christians, it's our goal to share the good news. We want to share the good news about Grand Rapids Christian as well. Hopefully, the good news about Grand Rapids Christian is the way that we are as believers in the Lord, but also in the fun things that are occurring. Because we want this Christian education to be attractive and exciting to as many people as we can. So if you can like or comment positively or share things from our Facebook and Instagram, and also be a part of the Eagle Sport Report, we just love for people to have positive information that we can share with the community about what's going on. So please look those up. I'll write that in here too. It's at GR Christian Eagles, and that's on Facebook and Instagram. Carolyn does a great job managing that for us. So philosophy of athletics, those of you who are new as 5th grade or new to our school, it is my desire as the athletic director to help provide as many opportunities as we can for kids to learn and grow. The classroom of athletics is a place where kids love to pay attention. And so in that classroom, we hope that there's failure. We hope there's success. We hope there's fun. We hope there's sadness. We hope that you get a little bit of everything as you participate in athletics at Grand Rapids Christian Middle School. But we want it to be participatory. We don't have trophy cases. We don't put up championship banners. We want kids to learn and be a part of a lot of things, have a lot of experiences, and learn about themselves. So it's very participatory. We are competitive, and we'll talk about that in a second, but it is certainly something we want your family involved in as much as possible. So that's what we hope to do, and to put Christ on display as we do it. Some of our soccer program structure, our high school, obviously 9 to 12. Last year was an awesome year for the soccer program. Winning the state championship was such a fun thing. So many of the kids from Grand Rapids Christian Middle School were a part of that team. It's just such a fun thing. But it's not the end of the world, right? You get excited about that and you can be proud of it, but certainly there's always the next thing, and that's not the way that we want to focus is on championships. We want to focus on the experience. So part of the experience that we begin to get at the middle school is this move from recreation into competitive athletics. Just for example, my son plays in the recreation program at Grand Rapids Christian. Everybody gets equal playing time. Everything's the same. It's very participatory in nature as well, but it's against our own school. Now we get to compete against kids from other schools. We get to wear uniforms instead of just maybe a t-shirt that separates us. We get to partner now with parents, coaches, other school communities to interact, and how we do that is super important, and we're going to talk about that. It's still inclusive, meaning everybody gets to play when you sign up, but playing time becomes a thing. It's not as equal anymore. We want more playing time in certain areas, and I'll explain that a little bit too. The goal is for the program to help us step from recreation to high school. There's a big jump, in the middle school is a place where we make the transition. And so I'll talk about those steps in just a little bit. And then time requirements. As a recreation program, we were, one practice, one game. Now we're 5th and 6th graders are typically 3 to 4 practices or games a week, 3 to 4 opportunities to participate. And 7th and 8th grade is always at least 4 days a week. So that the commitment level goes up. Missing practices, like, when I got my son Jake, it's like, oh man, we're so booked, we can't get there, we just won't go to practice tonight. That's not really the case anymore in that competitive athletics. We got to be there, we got to have a commitment. So we're starting to kind of step it up. So what does that look like in the soccer program? 5th and 6th grade, we split equal across the board. I think we have 3 teams this year, 3 equal teams to compete in our league. We participate 3 to 4, typically 3 days a week. And playing time is, not quite equal, but it's as close to equal as you'll get in the middle school, meaning some kids are going to play more than others. But we try to give kids opportunities. We want them to learn and practice, but we want them to practice what they learned in a game too. It's not the time for us to practice and then just sit the bench in the game. We want to experiment and see what we can do, right? So the coach's job is, if the kids are showing up on time, doing what they're supposed to do, all that stuff, we want to get them as many opportunities as possible. And so quickly, I have a playing time sheet for you that we'll talk about, where you can see kind of the overview of this. There's a minimum requirement that the league has for playing time, but it's still the coach's prerogative, right? If people are showing up, doing their best, having a good attitude, we want to try to beat all those minimums. We want to get the kids as many opportunities as possible. 7th and 8th grade, it's a little less equal. In all grades, every player wants to play with the best player. Would you agree with that? Like, if we put the kids who don't have as much experience all together, parents get frustrated because they never get a chance to play with those better players and improve their game. So by nature, if everybody wants to play with the best player because the best player helps everyone get better, the best players are going to play a little bit more, right? As long as they're showing up, having a good attitude, and doing what they're supposed to do. So by nature, I think we all have to understand that as we step up the competitiveness and people want to learn and grow, those players are going to naturally get a little more time, and hopefully they're able to give some of themselves away to the students who are still learning and maybe not quite as developed in the sport. But that does require some level of unequal playing time. And the coaches have complete latitude. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you don't have any say in the amount of playing time someone gets. And as a parent, you don't have really a place to even talk to the coach about that, unless your child is not playing at all or under those minimums. I don't think that's going to be an issue, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. But because soccer, we just need so many subs all the time. But that's not really a discussion that we do with coaches. It's up to them. If they're breaking what this says here, that's a discussion that we want to take. But I haven't had that happen in soccer in the 7 or 8 years that I've been at Grand Rapids Christian. So I think we're going to be okay there when it comes to soccer playing time. Back to my sheet here. Team formation. So does anybody have let me just say this, we'll stop for a second. Does anybody have a question at this point of any of the things that I've covered? If you do, just unmute and ask, or put it in the chat is really the best, because then I can go back to it when it makes sense. But go ahead and put it in the chat or unmute. I'm going to say just 1 second. Does anybody have a question? Okay. Team formation. So we start the week of August 22. Your kids will have 3 opportunities to practice that week as a big group, and all the coaches will be there. What they're trying to do is make an analysis of of how can we split these teams as equally as possible developmentally. I'm sorry, but one of the things we don't want to do is split teams based on, well, Jimmy rides with Johnny, and so we need that, because that can get messy, and sometimes it maybe overloads one team of talent. So what we try to do is make it as equal as possible. If we can accommodate some of that, we will try. But that is not our main goal. Our main goal is to try to get as equal of teams as possible. In 7th and 8th grade, Coach Boss does a good job of trying to find out, here's the schedule, everybody, and then trying to make teams based on who can make the most of each schedule. So he takes a ton of time to make his teams fit your schedules. In 5th and 6th grade, we will just try to split them as equal as possible. But Mr. Voss has been coaching for about 35 years and has his system, and he's amazing. So we're going to let him do it his way for that. As far as coaching is concerned, this will be kind of the last day that I directly interface with you about soccer things. So if you have questions for me, today's the day. Because after that, we're going to turn you over to the coaches. And I love each of you, but with 450 students here, I can't answer all your email questions, okay? So what we do is I try to empower those coaches. They're going to email you probably this weekend with information about your tryout week. By tryout, I don't mean there's going to be cuts. I mean, we're trying to do team formation. So they'll give you information about that. Once they make the teams, then you'll have a dedicated coach that the Willings will be able to talk to just that coach, or the Vice will talk to just that coach. And once we have that, you get loaded onto an app called TeamSnap, which looks a lot like this. Okay, I don't know if you can see that or not, but TeamSnap is an app on your phone. It's also on your desktop that you can get. You're going to automatically be loaded into there. So your coach will be able to communicate with you through that. Here's the beauty of it. Once we put in, all the games are in there already for each team. And then they're going to put the practices in, and then they're going to load you in. So then once you're in, you get a reminder for every practice and every game. And the coach can do chatting with you through there, get a little notification on your phone. They can chat with you. The emails will go through there to your email address. And so it's a great communication tool that we use in 5th through 12th grade now. So once you learn it, you're going to get used to that in every sport that you have at Grand Rapids Christian through senior year. And so it's a great time to get introduced to that. And our coaches will communicate through there, and they will be your the main person that you work with. And they'll communicate with you about all that. And that will start this weekend. You'll start to get information from them this weekend. Practice schedules, I have set it pretty close already, and that will get loaded into TeamSnap for you. But the first 3 days, I have to confirm tonight in our coaches meeting after this meeting, we will set those 3 days for after school, 3 to 5. So those kids can stay here right after school with their soccer stuff those 3 days. They don't go home, send a snack with them, and then you can pick them up at 5 o'clock. And they'll do their tryout week this week, and they'll make teams by the end of the week. And then you'll start to have separate practices, and your coach will communicate that with you. We typically will play 5th and 6th grade games. 7th and 8th graders, you guys walk to Evergreen. So you will walk together. The coaches will help you with that, but you'll walk from school after school when you practice over to Evergreen using the crosswalks and things like that. It goes great every year. Our coaches do a good job teaching it, as long as the kids, and please tell your kids to follow the crosswalks and the crossing guards. We did have a situation where somebody crossed, and you know who gets the call about that. Some angry person in the car is calling Mr. Bruni, and that's never a fun thing. So just encourage your child, if they're 7th and 8th grade, just walk, do what you're supposed to do, right? It's a good lesson for life. Just do what you're supposed to do, okay? But that keeps everybody safe. So with game schedules, those will be in TeamSnap too. Any changes that happen, you get alerts and all that. Any questions about communication from coach or how to work with me? I will be at events. You will see me all over the place. Feel free to say hello and anything like that. But if you're like, hey, so what time were we supposed to pick up Jimmy from the Gabe Millens practice on Thursday? I'm not going to know. Okay. I'm not going to know. So please work with your coach on some of those things. So let's talk about working with coach. Okay. Kids are not perfect. All of us that have kids just want the adults to be patient with our kids, right? We want the adults to push our kids, to get the most out of them, to be patient, to provide grace. We don't want them to be frustrated and angry with our kids, right? I know this because I have kids, and if you've ever taught them, hopefully I don't have to apologize for them, but I just know how you feel about that. And so what I would submit to you is simply the same from you to the way that you treat a coach. All the coaches want is for you to be patient with them, to give them grace, for you to work with them, knowing that they're going to push your child a little bit. They're going to challenge them so that they can grow. But we need you to give them the same latitude and the same hopes that you want from the teachers and you want from everyone else. So just be kind with them. They will not be perfect, our coaches. They will make mistakes. They will communicate incorrectly from time to time, just like your kid will make mistakes too. And it's just so possible you may make a mistake this year too. And we want our coaches to be graceful with you. I ask our coaches to trust you, right? What better way can we put Christ on display as parents, coaches for our kids and for every other school that we see than to be kind, to trust, to work together, to give benefit of the doubt. Please don't expect perfection. When we do, we just get ourselves in a weird spot. So I ask all our coaches to trust you. I need you to also trust them. Remember, they're giving up time with family, friends, whoever it may be, because they choose to pour into your child. They're not trying to do anything negative to your child. So please start with a stance of that. Try to love they may mess that up sometimes, but we got to work with them. Right? Just like we're teaching kids, we're also teaching coaches. A lot of our coaches are people who are new to the sport, who have a desire to be a part of it and just want to give back to the sport. The best way we can kick coaches out is to be mean to them and give them a hard time all the time. Right? We need people to stay. It's one thing that's great about our schools. We have coaches that stay over time because they love our community and they love our kids. And so please treat them well so that they stay there. We want kids to have great experiences, but I also want to take a minute to remind you that great experience includes difficulty and it includes success. Great experience is fun, but it's also sad. Great experiences include winning and they include losing. Great experiences include all of that. We often forget and think it's just cake, cookies, and ice cream and wins. That's a great thing. Losing is an important part of the experience. How we manage that, how we handle ourselves in challenging situations. All of that is part of a great experience. So please expect a full great experience this year, not just the fancy fun side of it. But that's an important thing that we want to remember. I want to make sure that we give coaches the benefit of the doubt. I don't know when this changed, but when I was in school, if I had a problem at school, my parents did not appreciate that. They gave me a really hard time. It was always my fault. Didn't even matter what happened. It was always my fault. And they supported the teacher, the coach, whoever it may be, 100%. A couple years later, I get into education and I find out real quick over the last 10, 15 years that it's not that way anymore. The first thing people do is trust their kid. I have 5-year-old twin girls. Since they've been 3, they've been able to convince me and get me on their side the second I walk in the door. They're 3, 4, and now 5. They're very good at it now at 5. They don't tell me the whole story, right? They're cute and they smile and they do a little whimper or cry, and I believe them immediately. I would just submit to you that your middle schooler has had a lot more time to practice that skill, okay? I just want you to say, let's get back to where we were. Why don't we trust the adults in the room? Not that we have to distrust our kids, but if I had money every time someone said, my son would never, and my daughter never lies, I wouldn't be here with all of you. I'd be an investment banker and doing something totally different, right? I'm going to tell you this. They do lie, and they would do whatever you said they wouldn't, okay? And they're just good at getting us on their side about it. So please, let's just remember that everybody makes mistakes. Let's trust our coaches, give the benefit of the doubt. The best way to do that, if you need a way to do that, is instead of going to the coach with a statement about what they did wrong, is you go to the coach and say, hey, can I ask you a question about this? My son said this, I just got to ask a question about this. What about this? Start with questions instead of statements. It's a way to give benefit of the doubt. We got to remember we're on the same team here trying to love and raise your child. It takes a village, it takes partnership. Partner with us by asking questions. And that goes with me. When I started here, I was 100% of the time worried. As a coach, I've been coaching 18 years. Whenever a parent walked up to me, I was scared to death that I was going to get chewed out and get in trouble. It's just the way it is. Now we've come a long way. Right? I've been coaching 18 years. I've been at this school 10 years. I've been at the middle school 7 now. And now it's about 70% of the time I'm afraid of you. Okay. Only 70. That's a win. We're improving. But I'm just saying, benefit of the doubt. Like the reason I feel that way and the reason every coach feels that way is because of what we see on a daily basis and what we've experienced in the past. And so I just encourage you that this place be different. This place be a place that gives benefit of the doubt, where the adults work together well, where we love each other well and put Christ on display through how we do that. That's just such an important thing, and our kids are watching. They are watching. If other people come to you about coach, just encourage them. Hey, what did coach say about that? It's the best thing you can do. Well, I didn't talk to coach yet. Hey, well, maybe you should talk to coach about that. You can't help them, right? You can encourage them if they should go to them or just be quiet. But encourage them to go talk to coach. 2-chair conversations where 2 people talk to each other is the best way. As soon as we start involving other people, we get into a weird situation that doesn't help us build a Christian community. As far as being a spectator, we get to go to all these games at multiple different places. And my hope, my dream is that we are the kind of school where people say, oh, I'm so glad Grand Rapids Christian is coming to our field today. They just behave so well. Their kids are well coached. Their coaches are good people. Their parents are great in the stands. I'm just so glad. I want officials, right? We have an official shortage in the state of Michigan and in the country. I want them to say, please give me the game at Grand Rapids Christian. Those people are great. I just want to be at Grand Rapids Christian, right? Like, how better can we put Christ on display than if people want to be where we are? I think that's the whole goal. And the way we do that is how we behave and how we act, how we speak, how we talk to each other, how we talk to other people. Just encourage or be neutral to all of these people. Please don't be negative. To other teams, other coaches, you're going to see some wild coaching out there. It's not going to be from our coaches. If it is, you tell me right away. But if you're going to see some crazy coaching out there, right? We treat those people kind. Don't tell them what they're doing wrong. They don't need that. Just be kind. Put Christ on display in all his interactions. Officials, it's possible that we have one official at every single soccer game this year, and that's it. That's it. I mean, we'd be lucky to have that. We'd be lucky if we don't get a game canceled for official shortage. And so please, when we see an official, go out of your way to thank that official for being there. I don't care if they were blind and they couldn't even move on the field. Thank them for being there because we got to play, right? Who do you think we get at middle school soccer in the Catholic School League in Grand Rapids, Michigan, on the back field at Evergreen? Okay, we don't get the top brass in the state of Michigan. Okay, we get people that are trying to learn how to be an official, right? So let's love them just like we want people to love our kids and we want to love our coaches. Let's love them too. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Buy them an extra Powerade, slap them on the back, put them on your shoulders, give them a piggyback ride to the car, whatever it takes. Just make sure they know that you love them, okay? Because we need officials. And I just dream that Grand Rapids Christian is a respite from all of that chaos. I mean, you can go to any club sport in America right now and witness chaos. Parents fighting parents, parents fighting officials, people punching each other. I just want us to be the opposite. I want us to be a place where people say, that's how it's supposed to be done. Just kind, loving, encouraging people. And part of that is just having fun, right? We want our kids to enjoy their experience. They're not going to enjoy it if we're screaming at them. They're not going to enjoy it. That's not going to help them. There's a famous coach who won 20 national championships in college that said, when I get mad at my team and I scream at them, they get better 0% of the time. And when I'm positive with them, they turn it around 50% of the time. 50 is better than 0, he says, right? So even if we're positive, it might not make the difference in that moment, but I'll tell you what, it'll make a difference in our hearts if we can teach ourselves to be positive no matter what's going on. So please have fun, encourage it, be positive, say things like, I enjoyed watching you play today. Yeah, that was a tough one, but it was so fun to see you compete and try. And let's also define competition. It's not this hatred, this blood rivalry. Competition, if you look at the definition, is about 2 opposing forces pushing each other to become something more. That's how you compete, right? So that's what we all want. again, we don't have trophy cases. We don't have banners to hang or anything like that. We just want our kids to have experiences where they get better and push each other to become more than what they were when they started. And so please enjoy that with us. Enjoy being positive, care for our coaches. Let the coach by the end of the year see you walk up to them and know you're going to be positive and engaging with them. Don't let them fear you. So again, have fun, be neutral and encouraging. May our school be a respite from the norm of chaos of youth sport today, that it be a place where people want to be and they seek to have us in their locations. That's the main message I have for you today. If there's something about starting the year or any of the things that we covered that you'd like for me to connect on, please put it in the chat or hit unmute right now, and I will answer your questions as we go. So does anyone have a question or a concern? If you do, put it in the chat or unmute. Go ahead. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then we will end the meeting. We were 26 minutes, which is pretty good. And I hope you guys have a great night. And if you have any questions, again, this is kind of your last couple of days to check with me before I hand you off to the coaches. So please send me an email. My email is in the chat. And please connect with me. Oops, I just sent that to one person. I meant to send that to everyone. Sorry. Have a great night, and we'll see you around school soon.